Hi, this is Christy Matthews with ChristyMatthewsOnline.com and ChristyJMatthews.com. Hope you're having a great day. I'm broadcasting from my Oakley, California office. Hope that your day is started off very well. And today's topic is propel your business by showing that you are vulnerable. And what do I mean by that? Have you in your journey through growing your business, have you ever come across the notion that you're feeling like you're being somebody else, that you're doing the things that other people do, but it just doesn't feel right to yourself? You know, as they say, if you match and mirror someone else, you should get that person's results. But there's so much more to it. And the secret behind all of that is being vulnerable, being your authentic self. You see, being vulnerable is not being weak in any way. It's peeling the layers of the onion and showing the core of who you really are. And in today's world of online business, in business in general, showing your authentic self, showing that you are a real person, that you're vulnerable, you have feelings, you react to things like a human being, you make mistakes, and we all do these things. And when we can show that and it shows up in our business and we take responsibility for our actions, it just, that authenticity comes through, and that's what makes us much more valuable, makes us much more attractive. And let me give you an example. When I started my real estate career some 27 years ago, I struggled with being this guru. I mean, you have to start somewhere, right? And I had picked out a couple of leaders in our industry at the time who their methodologies resonated with my belief system. And so I would match and mirror what they were doing. And then over time, as I got further into my study and my practice, there are things that came up that just wasn't me. It just didn't feel right. The language used, the methodologies, the tactical, experience just didn't feel right. And so it would throw me off track and it would stop my growth. And I think that we come across that quite a bit, and it's something that I have noticed in my own coaching practice with many people who get stuck. And in the world of online marketing, it is so easy, especially being a new entrepreneur with zero or little resources. It is very easy to get stuck, to try to be the Tony Robbins who is not showing all of the struggles and difficulties he had to get to where he's at. He's doing where he's at right now is because he's had all of these struggles and failures that happened beforehand. So what he's doing now looks easy, but it is not easy to match and mirror. Take any guru in the online space, maybe Brian Finale, Eric Worre, Ray Higdon, Diane Hochman. They will all tell you that they had struggles, difficulties, overwhelm, frustration. Even though we shouldn't say those words to ourselves, they still experienced them. And who they are now, it was because of a journey of failures and difficulty and being vulnerable. And they all got to a point to where they had to expose their vulnerability and show who their true authentic self really is. So I was reminded of this when I watched a video showcasing Brene Brown. She's an expert on shame and vulnerability. It is her life work. And so many of the examples that she brought out definitely affects us in our business because it's happening in our personal life. And what we're concealing and hiding from our personal self and in our personal life definitely shows up in business, folks. So I want to get back to the real estate example. I got off track a little bit. Is when I realized that I was not being my true authentic self, I stumbled across another guru. And the guru is an expert in building your business by referral. And what he said is that you've got to be yourself. And of course, he had methodologies on how to be referable and also be yourself. So long story short, I did take the things that I learned and put my own spin on them. And so, yes, I would still send the postcards and the newsletters and things like that, all of these things before we had the internet, folks. Okay, so I digress and show my age. All of these had to be done by hand, and there was a lot of work put into them. I went out and knocked the doors, and I had learned the scripts, but I adjusted them and made them my own voice. And when that happened, once I started stepping into my own voice and wasn't trying to remember, what was it that Pat Saby said, or what was it that, Tommy Hopkins said, when it just became what Christy Matthews is saying, game changer, total game changer. My business took off. I mean, it was a trajectory. I mean, it was just amazing how fast it took off. After about a year, I didn't have to advertise anymore. Nothing. All I did was market my clients' listings. The business came from referrals. It was just amazing, and I have seen it over and over and over again. Those who will be vulnerable, show their true self, create their own voice, and their businesses take off. Because people want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with a product or a service. They want to do business with you. And when you make people feel comfortable because they feel as though you have integrity, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do because your actions show that. Not only do you speak it, but you do it. You are very, very attractive. And what I mean by attractive, not only in looks, is that people they're attracted to you because you're the real deal. People want to do business with authenticity. I want to give you another example about when you are leading a team of people. Here's something that shows up in the business world, and I've seen this time and time again, and it really, the way some of the big leaders approach this, I heard this analogy at one time, is that most of the large leaders think that 80% of their team wants to have the success that they're having, making multi-millions of dollars and that type of thing. And that is who they're really trying to aspire to. That's what their trainings are led to, thinking that 80% of their following want that. While in reality, it might be as low as 5% to 15%. Instead of relying on the 80% of people, and this is, let me back up, this is where the leaders lose a lot of people on their team, and why they have a lot of fallout is because they're trying to develop this 80% group into something that they don't want to be. This 80% group may only want to make a couple $100 extra a month. Maybe they want $500 a month. That $500 a month might pay for piano lessons, dance lessons, baseball uniform, whatever the case might be, that might help their family. It may pay for books that they need to go to school. Whatever the case is, we don't know what motivates people to get into the online space or the home business space per se. So what these leaders do is that they alienate this 80% of the people. And they do things like this. And I want to start off with just a statement that says, you cannot be a courageous leader without being vulnerable. A courageous leader is willing to have hard, difficult conversations and receive hard feedback. So what's important is when we're speaking to our large group of people, be brutally honest with them and say, I'm speaking to a large part of you because I get the feeling that this is what you want to be, but you have to be willing as the leader, listen to what they are saying to you. And if you get somebody who says, I only want to make, a couple $100 a month, you're going to have to decide if you have the mechanisms within your organization and whatnot, your team, to help that person accomplish their goal, and maybe in time they get the taste of success that they will just propel themselves on from there on. But many people don't even get a chance out of the gate because they've been shut down. What happens is that the leader will use one of the cheapest and easiest ways to minimize them is by giving them a reason to blame them for not being successful because they don't want something better. I know that most of you have run across that, and I encourage you as leaders, don't do that because you don't know who's in your fold, who's willing to come out and expose themselves. There's just some things that are going on in people's lives that are keeping them at this point, and they might just need some continued coaching or some continued contact, maybe not to a point to where you this becomes your life work to help this person along. And we don't want anybody, we don't want to be feeding neediness, and we don't want people being needy of us as well. But we have to put that into balance, and we need to be careful about how we lead our teams. And remember that if we're trying to talk to the 5 to 15% that really wants what you have, but that message is going to 80% of the people, we may be losing our team and trying to blame our team for things that they're not responsible for, that's really within ourselves. Those who acknowledge vulnerabilities are more adaptable and prepared to win. A good example would be a football analogy where you have two opposing teams and both of their starting quarterbacks are injured. And we've seen this. Have you ever seen the 49ers? 49er fans, you know what I'm talking about. And we've done this a couple of ways depending on who the general manager and the team coach is. But as I digress here. And what does a team do to prepare? One may go ahead and pull their starting quarterback and start their second string and understand that they may end up getting a loss because of that, but they also build their team plan, their game plan around the second string quarterback's strengths. Maybe they'll give the quarterback more time in the pocket so that they can see the field of vision much easier. The game slows down a little bit for that quarterback. So they build around some of the weaknesses of that quarterback. And then you have the other team that says, you know what, the guy's not hurt too bad. We're just going to go ahead and play him anyway. And here's a couple things that are going on. Most athletes play in pain anyway, so that quarterback might be saying, and we've seen this too, when they shouldn't be playing, Brett Favre, okay? Amazing the games that he lost at times when he was playing hurt. He shouldn't have played hurt. But what happens is that quarterback may be saying, hey, coach, I'm fine. Put me in. Let me play. But really, they shouldn't be because they have set themselves up to not only hurt themselves more, and the coach allowing it to happen, but it also may set up other players to end up getting hurt. And so in the long run, the team loses. So what I'm trying to say is that those who acknowledge their vulnerability and adapt to it generally come out better in the long run. And if we can become adaptable in our business and adapt to our growth, our growth period, or where we're at in this point in time with our growth, I should say, we're going to be better off than trying to do things that we're just not capable of. And to conclude, let's just remind you that vulnerability is not a weakness, not at all. It's showing up when you can't control the outcome. That's what that means. Vulnerability is showing up when you cannot control the outcome. It's actually our greatest measure of courage. Think about when you're having a public speaking event and you're scared to speak in public, but just showing up and sharing that, hey folks, This is my first public speaking experience, where it's one of a couple I've had, and quite frankly, I'm scared to death to be here, but I'm here. And thank you so much for having me. Just coming out with that alone can be enough to break the ice and calm you down so that you can get forward, get moving on with what you're there to do. And your audience will just receive you and say, gosh, this is a real person. Really appreciate this person being authentic and honest with us. And maybe you're going to touch somebody that's in the audience that says, hey, they did it, I can do it as well. So show up in your authentic way and let us see your heart. That's the most important thing. Now, I'm going to put Brene Brown's video, the link to the YouTube interview, in the description below, and I encourage you to watch it. It's about an hour long, and it will touch you in other parts of your life. I promise you. It brought up a lot of things for me, and I know that you can apply what she's saying to your business as well. Also, I'd like to close and have you come and visit either one of my websites, ChristyMatthewsOnline.com, and that's where I've got some free training available to you, replays of webinars from our Branding University team, dynamic content that changes daily, things that will really help you with your personal development. And then also on my ChristyJMatthews.com blog, where I have resources and tools available that may help you in your business as well. So I hope that you have a great day. Thank you so much for viewing this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.